I took the Springfield Ronin 9mm Commander to the range today. Stick around and I'll tell you what I think about it. Hey folks, thank y'all for coming back. Before I get into the video, this is something I never really do, but I'm going to say it up front instead of saying it at the end. If y'all like the videos that I'm making, if y'all like some of the content that I got in there, please, if you don't mind, hit the subscribe button. Also, click the like button. Leave a message. It helps me out a lot. I'm trying to grow my channel. That way, maybe I can get manufacturers on board and they'll give me guns to evaluate that I can send back. Maybe I'll get a little ammo to boot. But anyway, if you wouldn't mind, please hit that subscribe button and give it a like. And if you don't like it, give it a dislike. But anyway, we're going to get on into this video today. Today, I took my Springfield Ronin Commander out to the range to test it out. Most everything went great. I had one problem while I was out there. It wasn't reliability related. It was not even accuracy related, really. I'll get into it when the footage comes up. Probably what I'm going to do is put some footage in here, and I'm going to narrate the footage as we go, just to kind of tell you what's going on, because I don't think the audio was that good today. But anyway, this is my Springfield Ronin. I've changed a few things on it. I changed the grips out. I've got some slim Ed Brown grips on here. They're probably VZs, but Ed Brown puts his name on it. I put me a little skateboard tape on the front. I changed the thumb safety out for my EGW. Well, it's not EGW. This was actually a Swenson, but comparing them, EGW, Ed Brown, and Swenson, they're identical. I even put calipers on them. They're identical. So I think the same person makes them. And let's see, what else did I do to it? I put a short trigger on it, and I did a trigger job. Speaking of the trigger job, it's pretty nice. It's not super light. I didn't want it to be super light. I can't even remember what the trigger pull is on it, but it is nice and clean. Let's do a test on this thing and see what the trigger pull is coming out to before we go into the video. So I'm going to probably give 2 or 3 pulls. That's 1, 2.8. I think that's a little light. Let's do one more. Let's do a couple more. Let's see. 3 pounds. That's about what it is. It's about 3 pounds. And let's do one more. 3 pounds, 1 ounce. And just for good measure, one more. That first one was, I pulled it wrong. 3 pounds, 1 ounce. So anyway, I changed the sear out in it to my, I'll show you which sear I used. It's the Extreme Engineering, I think. Yeah, Extreme Engineering. It comes in a package like that. I've got a ton of them. I bought a bunch of them all at once a few years back, and they are really good sears. They're very similar to the Cylinder and Slide ultra low mass sear. That's what they were going after when they built it. But anyway, let's pan over to the video, and hopefully I can narrate it halfway decent for you. Thank y'all for watching. So I started out at 7 yards. I have a little 2/3 size IPSC steel target that has a little 3.5-inch circle. That's a popper. It hits from, you hit it on one side, it swings, it goes to the other side. And initially at 7-8 yards, I didn't notice that big of an issue with my shot placement. So I shot it a little bit. There's the popper. It's about 3.5 inches. It swings from one side to another. I did miss it once or twice, and I just attributed that to not shooting in about a month. So I went back a little bit further, and I don't know if I'm 10, 12 yards here, something like that. And I noticed on the larger, my 2/3 size silhouette target, I was hitting a little bit low, but I was still hitting every time I shot. And at my 1/3, size silhouette target, which I've got one that's just an A zone, I actually missed it a couple of times from 10, 12 yards, and I was surprised. Initially, I didn't think it was the gun. I just thought it was me. So I shot a little more, and I hit most of my rounds, but I was still, I don't know, kind of disturbed at myself for missing that close on that 1/3 style target. You notice I switched back over to my larger target now, and I think I'm going for headshots at this point, and I missed a few of them. But anyway, since I was missing, I decided I would move up to 7 yards and put it on paper and just kind of see where my shots were going. I learned that at 7 yards, my shots were going about 1.5 to 2 inches high, which is not good. At 7 yards, if you're 1.5 to 2 inches high, then when you get back to 25, and even I tried at 50 yards, it's going to be a pretty hard task. So once I learned that my shots were going a little bit high, it made me feel a little better about myself, and I moved on to some other stuff. So here I'm at about 15 yards, I believe, just running some rounds through the gun to get to get a feel for the gun, really. And I will tell you, I ran 300 rounds through this gun. It was mixed between Federal range ammo, Blazer brass, and Freedom munitions. This gun did not have one failure today in 300 rounds. I also put a couple of magazines of my defensive ammo through the gun, and it ran 100%. It's not surprising. I expect a Springfield to be reliable, and it was. It didn't let me down. Now here you'll notice I'm at 50 yards, and I just wanted to see if I could hit at 50 yards by trying to do a little bit of Kentucky windage. I couldn't. On my large silhouette, my 2/3 silhouette target, I was making some hits at 50 yards, but they were all up in the head. I was actually at 50 yards aiming towards the base of the 2/3 silhouette target, and I was hitting the head. So that tells you 2 inches at 7 yards translates into a ton of inches at 50 yards. I was probably anywhere from 8 to 10 inches low at 50 yards. And I'm going to have to get something done about that. So anyway, I figured since I was having problems with my sight regulation, I would just come up to about 10 yards and run some drills on the 2/3 silhouette here. Oh, this is the 1/3 silhouette, which is actually pretty small. But this is an A-zone target. So I was just wanting to get some rounds through the gun, check its reliability, and see how it was. And like I said, I tell you what, this gun was super reliable. All right, so you can see I had a little bit of a problem out on the range. It wasn't from the reliability of the gun. This gun, man, it ran 100% right out of the box. It even ran defensive ammo 100% right out of the box. The accuracy of the gun, when I actually tested it, the accuracy was pretty good, but it shot at 7 yards about 2 inches high. At 25 yards, when I put it on some bags and tested it, it was shooting about 4 to 5 inches high at 25 yards. It was about that high at 25 yards. It was 4 to 5 inches. And then when I took it out to 50 yards, man, I really had to use some Kentucky windage to figure out where to hold the sights, because it was probably 8, 9 inches low, maybe even 10 at 50 yards. It was bad. So what I did is I contacted Springfield today. I sent them an email. It's a weekend, so I don't expect to hear anything from them. I asked them if they could send me a taller front sight. I don't know if they will. They might say, hey, send the gun in. And if they do, then I won't send the gun in. I'll just buy a taller front sight and put it on there myself. I'll go over to Dawson Precision and get me one of their sights, and I'll put it on myself. But as far as reliability goes, golly, this thing was reliable with everything. And I wasn't running great ammo through it. It's remanufactured Freedom Munitions. It was Federal's cheap range ammo, and it was Blazer brass. So that's not what you would consider top tier ammo, but it ran it all. Then I ran some Winchester 125 grain, Winchester 124 plus P's through it. Woo! It ran them great. Ran 2 magazines through it. So reliability, spot on. Accuracy was good. It was just the point of aim and the point of impact was off. I do wish I didn't have to change the front sight out, but I do. That's kind of what happens sometimes when you get a production gun. I don't even want to say a production gun, all right? I'm not putting down production guns. I own several production guns, and they can be fantastic guns. That's what happens sometimes when you buy a handgun. A mistake can be made. Maybe they put a 45 ACP front sight on it. I don't know. But I'll get it straightened out, and whether they send me another front sight or whether I buy my own front sight, I'll get it straightened out. Now, somebody was asking in a comment on my last, I think it was a Springfield video, what the Springfield magazine looked like. When I say Springfield is using some different magazines now. Some of their 9mm come out with the Rob Latham design magazine. Some of their 9mm have like a Metgar or a Wilson Combat style design. When I say Springfield or Rob Latham design magazine, this is what I'm talking about. Can you see that groove that goes down the front of the magazine? Basically, that groove holds the round back in the magazine. You got to remember, these magazines were designed for 45 ACP. 45 is longer than 9mm. So a common thing that a lot of manufacturers do is they put a spacer in the back to push that round forward. I don't really like that. So Springfield, Chip McCormick does it as well. They put a groove in the front to hold those rounds back. Also, if you'll look, they put a little feed lip right here. So it hits that feed lip coming out, and then the nose of the bullet goes up onto the feed ramp of the barrel and goes into the chamber. So these are my favorite style magazines. This one has a flat base pad on it. It's a 9-rounder, but I like it because it doesn't have that bump pad on the bottom, and it conceals pretty good. So when you put it in, it's nice and flush with the bottom of the gun. But I really like these magazines. I can't remember who makes that. Look at that design right there. Y'all can tell me whose design it was. It Metal Form or maybe, or I can't remember. I think it might be Metal Form that makes these magazines. But these are excellent magazines. It's the same one Springfield used to use, and I think they still do in some of their 9mm. But these are my favorite magazines. Wilson Combat uses a spacer in the back. They're not bad magazines. They're great magazines, but Chip McCormick uses the groove up the front with the little feed lip on the front of the magazine there, and I like that. My preferred magazine in 45 ACP is a Wilson Combat. My preferred magazine in a 9mm is a Chip McCormick. I've found better reliability out of Chip McCormick 9mm mags than I have Wilson Combat. As with 45 ACP, I've found better reliability with Wilson Combat magazines than I have Chip McCormick's. That's why I use those magazines and those different type of guns. Trip Research, not a big fan. When they're unloaded, you can pop the base pads off with no effort at all. I know it has a plunger there, but you can pop them off. Now, when they're loaded, you can't pop that off. But when they're unloaded, that base pad will pop right off of a Trip Research mag. They're good mags, but I don't like that feature of them. Anyway, let's get back to the gun. The gun ran 100%. I'm a little disappointed. I couldn't really do what I wanted to do with it today because the point of impact was off a little bit, but it still ran great. Within 15 yards, it is plenty accurate enough, just the way it is. But when you start stretching the legs on it, the front sight needs to be changed. Now, nothing bad to say about this gun other than the front sight. I will get the front sight changed out, and when I do, I'll take it back to the range and I'll let you know what it did or what it shoots like. But I appreciate y'all watching. Again, if you don't mind, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, hit the dislike button. It's not going to hurt my feelings. So anyway, I hope y'all have a good one, and thanks for watching.